Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show for another week talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. And man, it has been a rough and devastating week for Tampa Bay, and a lot of the South up into the Carolinas have all been pretty devastated by what's happened with Hurricane Helen. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. All I know is that I don't ever want anything to do with anyone with a Helen at the E at the end for the rest of my life. So I personally had quite a bit of property damage at my home, some investment properties, lots of clients, team members that lost everything. So I sympathize for those of you out there that are, burning it at both ends right now, cleaning up your properties while listening to me. And, getting through all the mud, the muck, the sand. I think I could probably go years without ever touching another granule of sand. I still feel like I'm finding parts of my body that have sand caked into them from the days and days I've spent cleaning up this week. So, but I want to talk to you about the real estate market, what this is going to do, how it can impact you, as well as talk to the people out there that are flooded out, and give you some options to help you kind of navigate through what is going on, post hurricane, and what is going to happen with the real estate market. But first and foremost, I just want to let everyone know that I sympathize. I'm going through it myself. A lot of real estate professionals are going to be in a tough spot simply because not only did the hurricane hurt our homes, but it also is going to hurt our ability to provide for our families. So thank our real estate agent right now. They've got a really tough job of navigating through a real estate market that just threw us a curveball that we've never dealt with before. Nothing like this have we ever had in Tampa Bay. So it's going to create quite a few unique challenges. It's going to provide segments of our marketplace that are going to do better than they have been, and then segments of our real estate marketplace that are going to do worse. So it's a completely new element. There's so much left to be seen. So again, I'm going to talk through what I think is going to happen, but there's still a lot that can change. We were already in a challenging real estate market to begin with because, high interest rates, and although recently they've come down some, still not anywhere near the record lows that we got a couple of years ago. And it just hasn't knocked enough buyers off the fence, especially considering a super polarizing election that's fear-mongered a lot of people into inaction. And then, of course, a hurricane that decimated our area. So, again, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone out there recovering, everyone out there doing manual labor unlike any they've done in a long time, aching in parts of your body that you didn't know existed. I'm with you. I feel you. I've dealt with the same thing this week myself. And, and I think that is going to continue. One thing that I have noticed that I think is super powerful and was pretty inspiring for me is seeing so many neighbors helping each other, putting aside differences, being, Americans and Floridians first, and separating our politics while we, go through neighborhoods and help people in need. The downside of all the devastation and property destruction and costs and inconveniences, one of the positives out of this is, kind of a unification that I'm seeing where people are kind of united in the common goal of helping each other get through something that we all experienced that is going to impact our area for an extremely, extremely long time. So back to real estate. I think so many people, and I've talked about this on the show so many times, so many people going through this don't have flood insurance. So it is going to have a downward pressure on the market in some price points and areas simply from people that don't have insurance and are going to have to dump property. And it's going to create this own segment of the marketplace where you're going to have flood damaged properties and non-flood damaged properties. It's going to make it sometimes challenging. It's where real professionals are going to rise. Cream is going to rise to the top because it's going to make it challenging because you might see a house in a neighborhood and say, why did that house sell for $400 in this $600,000 neighborhood? And what you may not know is that it had flood damage when others may not have. So there's going to be a lot of nuances with valuing real estate, with determining whether to sell, with determining whether to rebuild. I know multiple clients right now on Davis Island Davis Islands that are debating. Do they take the insurance money and just tear down and sell their land because the house may not be worth as much as the land? So there's certainly going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of normality that our real estate market has had, that this throws a complete wrench into all of it. So there's certainly going to be in our coastal areas and our high-end areas, it's going to stall the market for a little bit. Think of kind of PTSD and kind of the hangover of the feelings and the emotions and all of that. It's going to cause people to sit on the sidelines a little bit. In our luxury market, it's good. It's going to cause a lot of people to be hesitant to buy into some of those higher end luxury waterfront neighborhoods that are going to look like war zones for a little bit. Aaron Davis from Hillsborough Title sent me pictures of what Anna Maria Island looks like. And it looks like a war zone around, $5 and $10 million properties, and some even more than that. And it's going to cause consumers to not want to buy in that area for a while. So where I think, the market is headed in the upper end, our luxury market and our waterfront market has been chugging along exceptionally well for years. And this storm is definitely going to put a wrench in that. It is going to slow it a little bit. It's going to cause some hangover. It's going to cause some hesitation, from both builders, buyers, and I think it's probably going to cause an increase in inventory. I think there are going to be some sellers who are going to say, you know what, I've had enough. I don't want to go through this again. I'm ready to, maybe to move off the water or move to waterfront in a part of the country that doesn't have this to deal with. So, And the blessing that we have in Tampa Bay, while we still have a lot of storm cleanup and while we have a lot of obstacles, we don't have what some of the states north of us have, which is an inability to even get regular basic needs and resources met. I know when I went down a couple of years ago to help out in Fort Myers, I took a truck from two college brothers moving. They let me borrow it. And I took a truck down to Costco and Sam's Club and loaded it full of tens of thousands of dollars of supplies and went down to Fort Myers to give it out because they were pretty decimated and you couldn't get out. But now in our area, just about everybody's able to get out of their neighborhoods, get to stores, go to grocery stores, go out to eat, and get kind of basic resources. But up north, they don't have that luxury. There are parts of, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee that are completely inhabitable where they can't get basic needs met, where people can't get rescued. So while our area has been hit and it's terrible, we can certainly thank our blessings that our infrastructure and our ability to gain access to basic needs are able to be met when other parts of the country are not from the storm. So what is going to happen to some other segments of our marketplace? You've seen this drastic rise in condo inventory, and condos for the most part really aren't impacted much. They're raised off the ground. Certainly some ground floor condos, and there's going to be some obstacles in condos. However, 14-floor condos aren't getting really hit much by the hurricane. So I actually think we've seen this rise in condo inventory, and I think the displacement of consumers is going to cause some of that to drop. I think some of those condos are going to start to get bought up by people that are going to need a place to stay while their home is rebuilt, or that simply say, I don't want to be in a home anymore. I want to be in a condo so that I don't have to deal with this again. And secondly, from a safety perspective, obviously being up higher, from a displacement perspective. And then I think there's going to be some people that are going to rent their properties. You've now created this whole segment of the marketplace that is those essentially homeless, that has property they can't really live in or reside in, and they have to find a place to live. Some of those, especially, the millionaires that have, 7-figure properties and all of that, they have resources where they can go buy something, or they maybe even can move to a completely different part of the state or country. But I think that there are plenty of others that are not going to want to buy or don't have the capability or the cash to do that, and they're going to look to rent. So I think some of our existing for sale inventory and properties are going to end up getting allocated to rentals. So that will change things a little bit. Myself personally, I have numerous vacant properties. I buy a lot of real estate. I've advertised here on the show where I represent a fund, and we buy and we renovate and we resell properties all the time. And I'm taking some of the properties I've renovated to resell, and am offering them up as rentals to people that I personally know that have been impacted and don't have a place to go. I think I'm not going to be the only one that's going to do that. So all in all, it isn't going to be, this certainly isn't going to completely decimate our real estate market. Is it going to cause nuances? Is it going to reduce transactions? Is it going to change the marketplace in the upper end and in the coastal areas? Of course. But I also think that because we are such a broad geographic area where we have coastal areas, we have urban areas, we have rural areas, I think we're going to see our areas that aren't coastal, where homes are sitting in that maybe 300 to 600,000 range, call it, our mid-level price range, affordable price range. I think we're going to see a lot of activity in that marketplace. People that are in $1 million homes that have been displaced and had their homes destroyed are going to go out and buy $300,000 or $400,000 homes as a stopgap for the place in between while their home gets rebuilt, to either rebuild to move back in or rebuilt to sell. So buyers, home buyers, I want you to listen up, because what I'm going to talk about in the next segment are the steps you need to take advantage of, in addition to all the normal things that you do to buy a home. Steps that you need to take now if you're going to buy a home over the next few months because of this storm. Okay, so if you're thinking about buying a home, make sure you stay with me after the break, because I'm going to drop some knowledge on you to make sure that you don't make a mistake because of the changes in this marketplace, and also a lot of inexperienced real estate agents. There are more than half of the real estate agents in Tampa Bay haven't done a single transaction this year. Okay. Some of you guys are out there working with those real estate agents that have no experience, that are new to the business, that haven't done any deals, that haven't ever been through something like this, that don't have the experience, the scars and the wounds to show for prior mistakes of customers. And I want to give you the tips to help you avoid making some home buyer mistakes post-hurricane flood after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. We'll be back. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market when we aren't on there at the Duncan Duo. If you're thinking about selling your home, flood or not, DuncanDuo.com. We will give you the advice that you need to help guide you in the right direction, whether it's renovating your home, whether it's not renovating it and selling it as land, whether it's waiting on the insurance check. Every house is going to be different. We certainly have a fund available. It's buying homes for cash. So if you're somebody that just wants out and quick, that is an available option for you as well. And again, there are going to be a lot of people out there, a lot of predators that are out there trying to take advantage of people right now and tie up homes, get you wholesaled under a contract and never actually close. I've got a track record of 20 years in this market. If we make an offer on something, we intend to close on it. We don't flip our contracts to other people. We don't wholesale. We make offers and we close on properties, and we're fair. There's oftentimes we're beating other investors. We're going to be honest with you and tell you, hey, look, this is what we need to turn a reasonable profit. And that doesn't mean we're always the highest bidder, but a lot of times we are. So again, DuncanDuo.com, get your home value estimate, get an instant cash offer. Again, DuncanDuo.com. So home buyers, if you're out on the street right now and you've been unscathed by the storm and, it hasn't spooked you out of the home buying process, or maybe you're looking to buy in an area of Tampa Bay that you might think isn't really that impacted. Well, I want you to know that so many homes were impacted. There are going to be a lot of homes that flooded and that get fixed up cheap, and that the owner doesn't disclose or lies that their home wasn't flooded because they want to make extra money. So I want you to be really cautious when you're going through the process of inspecting your home and the agent that you're working with. Okay. Some extra steps that you can take that you maybe normally don't need to. Talk to neighbors. Okay. Ask the neighbors. Did they have their stuff out in the street? Did this street flood? Okay. The seller may not be honest with you. An inspector certainly is going to look for signs, and they're going to be more on top of it than they have been because of this storm. But inspectors are going to need to, pay attention and look for the signs. Okay. The signs are going to be like lines in the drywall, discoloration, musty smell. Those are all like common telltale signs, but rust is another one. Look for rusted metal. anywhere around the property. If there's rusted metal, there's a good chance that there was water or salt water in the house. But talk to the neighbors. That's a really common one, because, and you can't just talk to like the neighbor next door. Like walk down the street, talk to some other people. That neighbor next door might really like that person, might lie for him. Okay, there are going to be a lot of people that get taken advantage of and buy homes that were damaged by flood. Another thing that you can do, make sure to have an insurance agent pull claims on the property. Okay. That's an extra step that you should take in your inspection process, especially right now. If your agent isn't giving you that tip, you may have the wrong agent. I promise you, our agents will guide you the right way. We have preferred insurance agents. We have people that we work with. When I buy homes, I check the insurance claim history. I want to know, has it had a flood? Has it had a sinkhole? I'm not just going to trust the inspector, and I'm not going to trust the owner to disclose it to me because a lot of them lie. So check the insurance claim. An insurance agent can look. There are databases where they can look to see if there are claims on the property and what the claims were for and the amount the claim was for. So check the claims history as part of your process for inspecting the property. I would think that a lot of home inspection companies may add this element on now, where they may even, provide a service to allow you to see the claims history. But you want to know, was that house flooded or was that not flooded? And another tip for home buyers, get flood insurance. I took so many calls this week from people devastated, crying their eyes out because they lived in areas or at elevations that flood insurance wasn't required. Okay. What is required by your lender is not necessarily the properties that are most likely to flood. In our state, FEMA does the majority of the flood insurance is through FEMA. Okay. It's a FEMA flood policy from the National Flood Insurance Program, the NFIP. There is private flood insurance, but most of the flood insurance are those things. And they base it on elevation. Now, I can tell you just as much as anyone, the elevation certainly has an element in terms of, how likely something is to flood, right? But there are plenty of properties that are elevations deemed safe and not needing flood insurance that flooded from this storm. Lots and lots and lots. Get flood insurance. Okay. If you're required to get it by your lender, you're going to get it. If you're not required by your lender, get it anyway. It'll be cheap. Okay. It is the peace of mind, the safety, in some instances, less than $1,000 a year for the peace of mind of knowing that you're covered if something happens to your house. There are so many homeowners in Tampa Bay that were flooded and have had their whole life uprooted, and they're not going to get any compensation from insurance because they didn't have flood insurance, and their homeowner's insurance is not going to cover much. So if you're buying a home, get flood insurance. If you own a home and you were unscathed, okay, this one didn't hit you or it got close, get flood insurance. Get it now. Don't wait. Another storm hits or gets out in the ocean, and they're not writing flood policies anymore until it passes. Go get flood insurance, please. It is very inexpensive for people that can't afford it. We're talking in a lot of instances, a few Starbucks trips a month is what we're talking about for, flood insurance. I see people lined up at Starbucks spending $20 on their Mocha Loco Chopa Fopa Frappe, and they don't have flood insurance at their house. Okay. Get flood insurance if it's not required. Please look into it. Don't be one of these statistics that misses out and has their whole life uprooted because they don't get it. So that's my pitch on flood insurance. Strongly recommend it. We'll be back. Continue this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I talked in the early part of the show about my recommendations and my belief about what are going to happen in real estate. I think we're going to see some obstacles in the upper luxury and waterfront markets. I think we're going to see a robust move to condos. I think some of our condo inventory will probably start to drop a little bit, hopefully, as people that are displaced in single-family homes either rent or buy some of those condos, because in Pinellas County, we've got over 12 months of condo inventory right now. It's astronomically high. And then I feel like there's going to be a strong real estate market in our, in our rural suburb, East Hillsboro, Lando Lakes, kind of stuff away from the water. I think are going to do really well. One, I think this is going to scare some people that were looking more coastal into moving a little further out. Two, I think all those people displaced in coastal areas that are driving by what looks like a war zone right now they love Tampa Bay. They're going to want to move to parts of Tampa Bay that don't look like a war zone. Okay. And then three, a lot of those properties are more affordable, and those people that are in higher end homes, maybe they don't want to go buy another $1 million home, or maybe they can't while their $1 million home is getting repaired, but maybe they can qualify or have enough money to buy a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house. So I think we're going to see, like I said, this really kind of crazy, weird real estate market where there's going to be almost these little segments of the marketplace that are impacted positively and negatively by the changes that are happening. I also want to caution people right now. There are so many people out there that are going to try and take advantage of this. Price gouging is one thing. I personally experienced it. I called a few pool companies to get my pool drained, acid washed, balanced, and pumps replaced. The storm, went over my pumps, my gates. It got into my garage. And I think that I had one pool company specifically wanted to charge double what the other quotes I had were. So there are definitely companies out there price gouging. Shop around. Make sure that you're not getting taken advantage of. If people are going door to door to sell you anything, be very cautious about that. They're predatory. They're trying to sell you something. They're great salespeople sometimes when they're door to door, but they may try and not really help you. Okay, so make sure you're getting multiple quotes to try and fight against somebody who's trying to overcharge you or gouge you. You're going to see a movement into neighborhoods of door knockers and investors that are going to try and steal your house. I've always advertised on this show, and I've advertised in Tampa Bay for more than a decade about our instant cash offer and our guarantee programs where we buy homes. I've got countless reviews and video testimonials from clients that said I was very fair. Now, we've made it clear to them that we do intend to sell the property for a profit, and we break the numbers down for them. We're not trying to steal your house. We're trying to make a reasonable return on investment and explain that to you. There are going to be a lot of people out there that are trying to, instead of like me, just trying to make a decent, reasonable return, they're going to try and take advantage of you. They're going to try and tie your property up or talk you into some ridiculously low offer. Again, make sure to talk to professionals. Don't accept offers from people door knocking in neighborhoods that want to buy your house. If they were really good at buying homes and they were really giving good offers, they wouldn't need to door knock you. Okay. So just be really cautious. There's a lot of predator people out there taking advantage. There's a lot of price gouging going on. Last but not least, I talked about the importance of getting flood insurance if you don't have it. But if you do have insurance, make sure to file your claim, okay? Get your flood claim in there. Call your insurance carrier. Go through the steps. Go through the process. You have 60 days to file a flood claim. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. I personally didn't believe that I was able to get reimbursed for anything I would spend out of pocket. And I learned that that's inaccurate. So again, depends on the policy and the carrier. But some of the things that you may have already paid for that you've documented or taken photos of and have receipts for, you may be able to get reimbursed for. I know there are some people out there that said, hey, I don't want to wait weeks and weeks and months for insurance. I'm going to pay out of pocket and get it taken care of and not file a claim. You may still be able to file a claim. You may not want to. There's certainly owners that don't want to file a claim because they don't want the claims history. They don't want it to impact their ability to sell or to value the property. But don't assume anything about your insurance policy until you call your insurance carrier and ask them those questions and see what needs to be done. So we hope that's helpful for you. Again, a really challenging time in our marketplace and in Tampa Bay in general. And there's so many people out there that need help. I want to encourage you that if you are someone who didn't get impacted, okay, and I dealt with this a few times this week, if you're someone that did not get impacted, and maybe you call or text somebody and they run a business and they didn't get back to you, okay, let's assume, let's make it some assumptions here. We had a storm that was catastrophically the worst flooding in Tampa's practical history. Now, they said it wasn't as bad as some storm 140 years ago, but guess what we didn't have in Tampa 140 years ago? cars and buildings and value. As far as the value loss in Tampa, I think this one's going to massively break records. Okay. So you have this storm that's impacted so many people. It's impacted their families. It's impacted their businesses. They've lost their vehicles. If you call someone and they don't call you back, you can probably assume they're pretty impacted by the storm. And just because the storm didn't impact you doesn't mean life goes back to normal for everyone else. A lot of people are taking time off to shore up their home, to help families, to help people in need. So if you are are you someone that has a relationship with somebody or uses a particular business and they haven't gotten back to you as they normally would have, maybe give them some grace, maybe have a little bit of understanding, maybe understand that there's a lot more to this than just you, and that other people are out there like homeless, devastated, lost everything. And, your minor inconvenience that you're dealing with in your life that makes you go and blast someone online because they didn't call you back in 24 hours. Let that go for a little bit. Like give people the benefit of the doubt, give them some grace, chill out, understand that our market is in our area, businesses, homeowners, neighborhoods, they're not going to be the same for a long time. Okay. So, get out of your own way, understand that if it didn't impact you, it impacted mostly everyone else in some way or another, and just expect that things are going to change. What you've been used to happening with a lot of businesses may not be as smooth as it was, especially if they're in a business like mine, for example. Obviously I have a lot of clients that are impacted. I own a lot of real estate. I took days off this week. I had clients call and and I took off the whole week to deal with my own personal stuff, my family members that are displaced and homeless, friends and family that needed their houses cleaned out, my own personal property that needed a massive amount of work and clean out. So I had clients that would call and leave a message, and 6 hours later call and leave a nasty grand message that no one had called them back. People, give people some grace right now. I think a lot of people are, but I think there's some people out there just driving around acting like everything's normal and nothing's changed. I sat in traffic the other day. There was a truck on Bayshore, and you could tell it was stopped on Bayshore, and it was, cleaning up stuff from people's house, right? Like there was no other way. There was nowhere else for this truck to park. And so this truck sitting behind him started honking and yelling at him, cussing at him for blocking the road and slowing his commute. It was wild to me. It's like know the room, read the room a little bit, people. Okay, please, give your fellow business owners, give your neighbors, give people some grace. Okay, expect that if you reached out to a business and it's been a few days, they may be completely underwater. They may have lost all their equipment. Multiple landscaping companies I know, a fence company I know, lost everything. Of course, they're not going to get back to you in 24 hours. Their lives are completely uprooted. So again, the advice I have to you, please give people some grace right now. Understand if it didn't impact you, that it impacted everyone else. And life is not going to be the same in Tampa, Tampa Bay, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Pasco. It's not going to be the same for a long time. Neighborhoods are going to look disheveled. Stuff is going to be in the streets. FEMA has said, I could go on and on. I could have a whole show about, how unhappy I am with some of the stuff I've heard that FEMA's come out with. But FEMA has said that it could be a year before some of the stuff that's out in neighborhoods is picked up. They've taken control of dump sites. So there's just going to be a lot of inconvenience, and just be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that it didn't hit you the way it hit other people. Extend some grace. Get out and help someone. I learned this week, and I've always heard this and believed this, but I believe there are a couple different segments of society. I think you have a segment of society that are the doers. They're out there, they're doing stuff. They work, they're active, they help people, they provide a service, they show up for work, they work hard. They're active doers. And then there is the part of society that are the watchers. They're just kind of meandering through life, kind of observing, almost like they're watching a TV. I saw so many people drive through neighborhoods this week and just kind of gawk. It's kind of like neck breaking, like when you drive by an accident, how you can just see how some people just stop and look, and it's like they just want to watch it. It's like they want to watch the chaos. They want to watch people have their lives uprooted. And I saw so many people driving around and watching and like gawking. I had people getting up in the bed of their truck to look in my backyard. Don't be that person. Don't be the watcher. Go do something. Go help somebody. Go out to a neighborhood, get your hands dirty for a day. Even if it didn't impact you, go help somebody. Go help your neighbor. Go help your family members. Go help some people. Don't drive around just to bask in the chaos that people are going through and take pictures so you can post on social media. Go out and help somebody. Don't be a watcher, okay? Don't just watch the world go by. Get active. Go do something. Go help someone. But yes, the two segments of society I've seen this week, the people that are active and out there helping and rebuilding, and then the people that just want to watch other people. And it's really sad. So hopefully you're not one of those people. If you are, go help somebody, okay? Anyway, we're going to be back. We're going to continue the show after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market when we aren't on air. DuncanDuo.com. Get an instant cash offer. Get your home sold guaranteed, or get your free home value estimate so you can stay up to date on what is going on. Hopefully you were unscathed and you're out there helping people this weekend, helping people rebuild, helping people get stuff out of their house. Please be a good neighbor. Extend people grace right now. Don't just expect the world to revolve around you and go back to normal, because in Tampa Bay, it's not for a while. So again, when we aren't on air, at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all the social media channels, again, at the Duncan Duo. We're always here talking about the real estate market and news. And I saw something this week that kind of made me, kind of think twice. Obviously, my show is very specific about giving you real estate news and information and keeping you updated on the things that impact real estate. And that's what I'm here for every Sunday. That's what I'm here. That's what I've been doing for 20 years. It's why I have the business I have and provide service to the number of clients that we do. But something that was quite disturbing this week, because I feel like a lot of people have a distrust of media and news right now. And I've really just made sure to focus and keep this show about real estate because it's what I know. And I think that's why people tune into this show on Sundays, is because they want to know what's going on with real estate. Whether that's they want to be an agent, or they want to join my team, jointheduo.com. Shameless plug. Go to jointheduo.com if you're thinking about joining our real estate team. Or they want to stay up to date. And, I was really amazed this week because I browsed the major national news websites. And I think the lead story this week in our country should be doing everything we can as a country to help the people impacted by the storm. From what I'm hearing, and people in the Carolinas and friends of mine, that the death toll is massively understated. There are way more people that are not able to get resources and materials, and way more people unaccounted for, way more people dead than what's being produced. And if you look at all the media sites, it's all politics. And look, I know that the station you're listening to, the focus of the station, it is a lot of political news. So certainly there's a reason for that. But I also think that there's an opportunity now to talk about this storm and help people that are in need. That all these news stations, instead of focusing on the negativity of the politics that are on all the websites, focus on ways that we can help the people that got impacted, ways that you can prevent it. The conversation that should be happening in our country right now should be centered around this storm and a unification to try and help people. And I just feel like everything that I'm reading online with all the news media resources that have the ear of the people, that have the ability to impact and communicate, instead of using it for good, I feel like they continue to use it for bad. They continue to pit us against each other. Everything on all those websites is all about politics. and the polarizing election and the presidential election. And it could be about like the unification of America and like back when you think about some things that have impacted our country and in a really, big way. You had an element where it seemed like people had the best interest of America in mind in terms of how to resolve it. And I feel like this storm, neighbor to neighbor, there's so many good stories. There's so many good neighborly acts. There's so much goodwill being spread. There's so much good that's happening from this storm. But there's the places that have the largest microphones to communicate with the most people, that could help the most people, that could impact, that could provide resources and tools. Instead of doing that, they're still buried in all the stuff that really isn't helping anyone. So, what I would tell you this week is, try and help your neighbor. Try and help somebody in your neighborhood. Try and help somebody that lost everything. Stop paying attention to some of the, national, the mainstream media, because it's just not helping you. It's not doing anything. It's not doing any good for any of these people that got hurt. It's just continuing to divide us. So I just can't believe it's not the lead story. When you saw, for example, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to pit the hurricane against 9/11, completely different scenario. Obviously more lives lost, but the story on the news post 9/11 for weeks was everything related to 9/11. This storm was of epic property loss proportion, more deaths since Katrina, and you can't even find it. You have to scroll down to the bottom of the page on any of the mainstream media websites because all they're talking about is politics. This should be the story. This should be the moment where we're trying to unite America instead of divide it. This should be what's being talked about. How we can help find more people, save more lives, get more resources, get more help. And it's not, and it's just sad. So hopefully you appreciate my step up on the podium today to talk about that, but go help your neighbors, go help somebody in need. Let's show the rest of the country what Tampa Bay is about in terms of responding to this storm. And hopefully you're out there this weekend doing just that. So when we aren't on air again, follow us on social at the Duncan Duo. We'll keep spitting out real estate news and knowledge, and you will definitely see me out there this weekend helping some people that need it with everything going on right now. Have an awesome rest of your Sunday, Tampa Bay.